Hello, welcome along to the Rangers Rabble podcast, your weekly Rangers podcast here on YouTube. I'm Martin, and tonight I am joined by Brian. Brian, my friend, how are you?
Very well, Martin, yourself?
Yeah, I was all good until I seen that we lost 8 viewers just with the intro alone, which is quite disturbing. Ross Clark, how are you?
All right, mate. I thought my eyes had went squint because you and Brian changed places during the intro there. I thought I was losing my marbles. But apart from that,
that's all good. Like I say, we are live on YouTube. If you are watching, please do subscribe and like. A like goes a lot further than you can imagine, so please do like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Rangers Rabble, and on Instagram, Rangers_Rabble. I really should definitely know that, shouldn't I? And of course, we are available on Patreon. Link is in the description if you want to help support the podcast and get access to loads of different shows. I uploaded the SPFL Roundup. That's on YouTube for your listening pleasure. If you want to have a listen to that, gives you a wee bit of an indication of just some of the stuff you can get on Patreon. Now, I think there's really only one place to start. The comments are flooding in. I'll get to them in 2 seconds. The only place to start, Ross Clark, of course, is when are you fixing your hair?
this is it, mate. That's it. Hold on a minute. I've told you before, you bumped the subscribers 3,000. You were going to shave that mop off. Your hair looking like a fucking cheap-ass Greeks version of fucking Danny. All right? And the fans are feeling robbed. You've got bald guys in the comments calling us free ugly. Do you know what I mean? That's what we've got here. I've told you before.
You're talking about Senor Duff?
I am. It's good to watch a pod and with its sunglasses on for the glare of the light bouncing at
Right, let's get to some of the comments. True Blue 1872. Hi lads, hello to how are you? CGM, good evening all. Good evening, CGM. Gallant Pioneer, good evening, fellow Bears. Dale, of course, hello from Los Angeles. I'm not jealous. What else have we got? It's basically that's Zander Clark's brother. It happens to be Zander Clark's brother, and I think we might be discussing Zander Clark's brother a little bit later on in the comment.
I wonder if folk meet Zander and say, "Are you Ross Clark's brother?"
I've
always wondered that. Are you that way for the Rangers Rabble, the fat ginger guy with the curly hair? Are you his brother?
Unless something happens in the future that might possibly happen. Ross, I think you're more famous than Zander, I would say.
Why is this, Martin?
Just for your presence and your aura and your all-round lovingness.
Well, he has a big wet wipe, and I'm funny.
You could just see the sun tomorrow. Anyway, right, okay. There is genuinely only one place to start, Brian, and of course it is Steven Gerrard. International break, and I was thinking to myself, will we do a week? Will we do a pod during the week, or will we give everybody a break? It's international break. Nothing's really going to happen. And of course, Steven Gerrard's linked to the Aston Villa job. We will talk about it in depth, but just your initial reaction when you heard the news.
Much like the Spurs and the Newcastle links, I was kind of just thinking, here we go again. Our manager's linked away with somebody else, and probably the last thing we need. And initially, just you're sick and you're kind of just sick and tired of hearing it. You're just thinking, yes, obviously it's nice your manager's getting linked to other jobs because he's obviously doing well, but it's not what we need at this stage of the season. We're just finding our groove again, and no, I'm tired of it. I was actually getting quite angry at my old WhatsApp with my messages today. I was really getting pretty peeved off about it.
Do you know what? I was going to ask you this question, Ross, and Gallant Pioneer has just put it in the comments. Obviously, there was a bit of speculation with Spurs and Newcastle, but me personally, I got a bit of a different feeling for this, and Gallant Pioneer, I got a different feeling about the Villa link from the other clubs. Anything in that for you, or are you just quite simply load of nonsense?
Said it at the time, mate. Newcastle and Spurs are too big a job for him. For me, and Villa is a job that he would go, and even if he failed in his first season, he would maybe get time. But for me, the way he sets out and plays his football, if he were to go to an Aston Villa and try and play 4-3-3 the way he has played, his managerial reputation would be in ruins. I think the way he plays is under a pressure to win things here, with the idea that in a couple of years' time, when he's took us to the Champions League, he'll eventually go on and be the Liverpool manager when he succeeds Klopp. So as I say, it would worry me if he did take it, because for me, if he expects us to win the league this year and expects to be a manager in the Champions League next year, then it's an absolute no-brainer to stay at Rangers.
Do you go along with that, Brian? That if he went to Villa, I mean, Ross does make a good point, but at the same time, do you not think Gerrard's clever enough to be able to adapt to situations, especially in England, a league that he knows so well?
Well, this is the thing. We don't know, because he's obviously, Rangers was his first managerial job. I mean, when you look at for example, you look at Villa's next 6 fixtures, as we said earlier. He's away to Brighton first after the international break. Then he's away to Palace. Then he's got Man City at home, Leicester at home, Liverpool away, Norwich away, Burnley home, Chelsea at home, and then Leeds away. And this is all before the 1st of January, before he can even sign anybody. I just can't feel this is an absolute colossal decision. I mean, if he takes this job, Villa could be out of sight and relegated before he even can sign anybody. And we've possibly got the prospect of winning the league, getting in straight in the Champions League next year. It's for me, it's a massive gamble. I wouldn't want to take this chance. I really wouldn't.
Look, everybody in the comments, please keep bringing them in. Get your points across, and I'll put it to the guys, because I'm certainly not going to give an opinion on this. Sam Gaiman, Gerrard loves Rangers. Why would he join the Prem? Look, that doesn't matter.
No.
How much somebody loves something, but then I'm going to completely trip myself up, Ross, because there might be a little semblance of truth in that, because Gerrard has came to Rangers and he seems to have got it. He's obviously won the league with us, and he does seem really settled and happy up here.
Well, you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
They look settled here. They look happy. Then why are you asking silly questions? For me, as I say, it would be a worry if he took it. For me, what's going to happen in January and where the club's heading, what's going to be available to try and push on after the winter break and up to the winter break with transfers, in order to go and push and win the league and get the windfall that guarantees next year in group stage football. For me, if Steven Gerrard believes in his heart of hearts that we're going to win 56 this year, he's not going to leave and go to the Villa job, where he could potentially be managing the Championship next season, when he could stay here, win the league, cement his legacy with Rangers and take us back to where we belong in the Champions League group stages, and then have a crack at that with the possibility then of cutting his teeth against better teams in the Champions League, and then potentially taking over for Klopp at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you go along with that, Brian?
100%. I really do. I would be very fearful if Gerrard went to Villa. The position they're in just now, the fixtures they're facing before the January the 1st, it's very worrying. And to give up, as Ross says, chance of winning 56, and managing in the Champions League next year against all the top teams, that's where he wants to be. And he's never getting that at Villa, not in a month of Sundays. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, Alan, RFC, he won't do a Brendan. Listen, football, you never, ever say never.
Listen, I've seen Steven Gerrard's misses. I don't see him getting caught hanging at the back of a ladyboy, okay?
Paul J puts in the comment, it could be a bigger risk staying with us with no money and we lose players. How does he take us forward under those circumstances? Is that a fair point, Ross?
No, I mean, I think the squad we've got here is good enough to win the league. I believe the squad we've got here is good enough to win the league. I believe we're starting to click. There's definitely been an improvement in the team's performances. I believe there's been a turn. We're starting to get Kent, etc. back, which is obviously a big thing. I don't see staying at Rangers as being a risk. Going to Villa and getting relegated, and as Brian says, getting hammered every game before Christmas, before you even get a chance to make a change, is a bigger risk than staying here where he's comfortably ahead in the league without playing well, now that we're starting to move through the gears and starting to get better.
Now, when I was reading this last night, Brian, the story, and quite a lot through today, there was obviously reports everywhere, as there always is with stuff like this, that, you know, I seen one that said he's only got to sort out the backroom staff. That's all that's waiting to happen. He's in talks. And that's why I titled this as, you know, Gerrard in talks with Aston Villa with a question mark. But Heart and Hand have obviously come out, the official Rangers media partner, and I think Ross Wilson as well, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he has, saying that, look, Aston Villa have made absolutely no approach. But you don't get noise in the media without there being something with regards to this. So do you expect Aston Villa, Brian, to make an approach for him? And if so, is it something that Rangers would have to seriously think about, depending on obviously the compensation?
I don't think we're naive enough to dismiss the fact that Villa will make an approach. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But I just, from Rangers' point of view, I don't see it as any. There's no benefit to Rangers losing Steven Gerrard at this stage of the season. There's no benefit at all. I just don't see it at all. It's all because of who he is. Gerrard is the English media's golden boy. He was part of the golden era in England's team. That's all. That's the only reason why this is all making news and whatever else. Nothing else. I really don't. As I said it earlier, it's a massive gamble on his part. If he goes to Villa and makes a mess of that, then that's goodbye the dream job at Liverpool. In 2 or 3 years, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah. Gallant Pioneer, loving Brian's T-shirt, by the way. Is that training top, Brian?
No, it's a leisure top from the Rangers store.
Leisure top from the Rangers. Mm. I was in there the other day, and of course you can't go in there and not come out with your wallet that little bit later.
I don't go in there very much. That's why.
I noticed you never bought a haircut, man.
No, I didn't. I was too feared it would end up looking like yours, and I thought, no, I'm not taking the risk. But I will be getting a haircut very, very soon. I've lost the comment, and it's really annoying because it was a really, really good one. There we go. Well, Alan, look, them down south think a blind deaf man can win the SPFL, so they won't rate him until he goes it and manages it in the Premier League. Ross, we're all assuming, and obviously he wants to become Liverpool manager, but I don't know that Steven Gerrard's necessarily put a timeline on becoming that Liverpool manager. But can he go from us to them, or does there have to be some kind of middle team? And if so, is that middle team Aston Villa?
Frank Lampard got the Chelsea job off the back of a nothing job because he's a legend at the club. If Jurgen Klopp was to leave Liverpool at the end of next season and Steven Gerrard's won 2 consecutive league titles with Rangers and a couple of cups, Liverpool fans would be crying out for Steven Gerrard to be our manager, Martin. I believe that would be the case, just because he's a club legend. He done so much. He dragged them. We all watched the Istanbul Cup final. He dragged them by the arse and dragged them to a European Cup final that game. And that's the kind of man manager he's got. That's the passion he would bring to Liverpool. And mate, I think if Klopp chucked it next year and Gerrard had won a couple of trophies this year, the Liverpool fans would be clamouring for him.
I know. I tend to agree, but Brian, with the Frank Lampard example, I think that was more so the situation I think Chelsea were in at the time. Was there some kind of transfer embargo or something like that? So they were never going to attract a top manager. And listen, we don't know how it works down there. Yes, he's a Liverpool legend. I don't know how the owners of Liverpool operate. I don't know if they would see it as Yes, he's a Liverpool legend, but we want basically guaranteed what Klopp's doing. So would it be a case, and I'll ask you the exact same question, would it be a case that the Liverpool owners or the director of football or whoever it is would look and go, yes, he's done X, Y, and Z at Rangers, but is that enough to convince us that he can come here and do that with us, with Liverpool?
Well, he virtually plays the same way at Rangers as Liverpool do. I mean, Rangers play 4-3-3, Liverpool play 4. It's almost as though he's morphed Klopp's team into his team. You know, hard-working midfield, you know, pressing, high press, you know. Would that be not true, Ross?
That's what I meant earlier when I said he's auditioning for the Liverpool job right now with Rangers.
Yeah.
He's learning how to play that way. And it's why I said going to a team like Villa. Steven Gerrard's managerial career has been Liverpool 18s and Rangers. And as you say, he plays with us the same way Liverpool play. He's now got players who fit that style. So for me, Steven Gerrard's, his whole technical team and his management all work towards playing 4-3-3, and it doesn't matter what you do, we're going to play a version of that. And for me, he's essentially playing out his audition for the Liverpool job now as the manager of Rangers. The same pressure, a much lesser budget, but against teams who've got lesser budget, playing attacking free flowing football. So why would they not be able to transfer that straight to Liverpool?
Yep.
A point in for Michael. I don't know. Things change so rapidly in life and in football. But Michael said, look, I read his autobiography before he came to us. Excuse me, and I'm sure Gerrard said he wouldn't be with a club who Liverpool would come up against. Can't remember, if he meant player or manager. Gerrard, obviously, Brian, throughout his playing days, very, very loyal to Liverpool. There was that one tiny spell, I think, where he maybe nearly went to Chelsea.
Real Madrid.
Well, Jose Mourinho chased him for many years. But he stayed with Liverpool, he stayed loyal. And he did come out and say that he could never play against Liverpool. But that doesn't necessarily mean...
Can I kill this stone dead right now? Kill this stone? He played against Liverpool for Rangers whilst also being manager of Rangers. So that counts as both points, all right?
That doesn't count.
All right.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong. It doesn't count.
You're wrong. It's not a competitive match.
No.
It wouldn't be with a club that Liverpool could come up against. So there you go. As a player and a manager, he's went against them. Okay.
I'm not having that. No.
But Brian, the whole managing against Liverpool, I suppose, is a lot different. Is it a lot different to playing?
I don't know if it is. He's got such a strong link with Liverpool. I mean, player, manager, it doesn't matter what capacity Gerrard would be in. It's such a huge involvement for him. As you said, he turned down Real Madrid. He turned down Chelsea. Could have quite easily left them, Liverpool. They weren't winning the league. Chelsea were probably in their pomp at that time when Mourinho was there. Chose to stay with Liverpool. Chose to stay loyal. As I said, I've been getting angrier and more seething as the days gone on. I'd be really, really seething if he went to a club like Villa at this point in time, where they are, what they're doing in the league. I really would.
Well, on that point then, you're saying how angry you are, and for a man of your age to get that angry, I think you need to calm down a wee bit and look after the old ticker.
He would be pulling his hair out, but he's struggling.
Maybe that's what happened. If Gerrard goes, and it's a massive if, because I don't think he will, but if he does, well, how will the vast majority, I would say, of the Rangers fans react? Would they say, look, thanks for everything, all the best, or would there be an underlying anger towards him?
Well, I don't know, is the answer. I look at what Brendan Rodgers gave Celtic during his time there, and when he chose to leave to go to a lesser team in the Premier League, the guy got dogs abuse. So for me, Gerrard has achieved what would be the end game, which was stopping Celtic for getting 10 in a row and getting us 55. But for me, if he left before getting us back to the Champions League and finishing the journey, I would have I would have a sour taste in the mouth if he left us at this point when we're 4 points clear and going into a new phase of the year after the international break, a new phase of the season where we've got a chance to motor on, get through some tricky games, build up the confidence that we had last year and go and win this league.
Well, I'm going to pull up a comment here, and it's made me quite happy. So as most people who watch this a lot know, I don't get a lot of praise on here. And whoever is my special guest, never give me any credit or praise. In fact, I get the mick took out of me most of the time, and mostly by Ross Clark. But, Michael, wise words, Martin. Calm down. I'm a very, very, very smart man. Brian, yourself, there's people saying that because he won his 55, they would say, look, thanks for everything, and they would be gutted. Do you think that would probably be the overall sentiment, or do you think there would be anger? Obviously, you're an angry man, but
yeah, obviously, I'm a bit peeved at this, but I wouldn't say the majority would be angry. I think they'd more be disappointed. He's virtually on the cusp of getting us into the Champions League. Let's be honest. He's nearly got us there. From if you think of where he took over after Murty and Warburton and all that Kashina nonsense, from where we were then to where we are now is light years from where we were. And for him to walk away now and not even last another 6-8 months, it would be heartbreaking. It really would. Because I mean, we were at death's door when he arrived. We really were. I mean, the team was awful, and every season we've improved, and it would be a crying shame if we actually got the Champions League and he wasn't there to actually manage us in it. Really would.
We've got a question here that just one word answer. Ross, is Ross actually Zander's brother? I don't know if that's sarcasm or a genuine question, but I shall open the floor to you, Ross, to answer the question.
It's a long story. What happened was I once met this boy, Zander Clark, up in the town, and I got a picture with him, and then I just put on my Twitter that he was my brother, and it's just caught on. Everybody thinks he's my brother now. He was also best man at my wedding.
Well, I can't believe I didn't get an invite, but then I didn't know you at the time. I hate playing into the realms of what ifs, but I've done it twice already, so we will do it again. But just before we do that, I knew this was coming, and Talk Sport is a radio station that I do listen to sometimes, especially when it's Laura Woods and Alan McCoy in the morning. I think it's brilliant.
Not Talk Sport 2, though.
Well, no, that Rory Jennings, because he's famous on the kickoff, thinks that he knows everything.
Never heard of him.
And you know what? Fair play to Rory. Sometimes I listen to him and he does speak sense sometimes. But and by the way, see on that kickoff, I've seen them slag Scottish football quite a few times. Mm-hmm. And Rory is one of the guys who genuinely does back Scottish football up. On this occasion, he's wrong. And people will sit there and go, you're just saying that because you're Rangers fans. No, I'm genuinely not, Ross. There's no argument that when they ask who's the bigger club, Aston Villa or Rangers. Aston Villa are a massive club and a massive institution in English football. They are, they're a big club. They're still no anywhere near in the same league as Rangers.
No, nowhere near it. No, not even close.
It's not even the same stratosphere.
We're talking about next season, and you're talking about Rangers going to the Champions League group stages and filling out and more away allocations and wherever we go. You're talking about Aston Villa playing in the Championship in front of 8,000 people and not being able to fill in away support, mate. So for me, Rangers is a club that you've seen it yourself. You've tried to get tickets for even away games in Europe. Travel, follow the club everywhere. Brought the club back for the brink of death. Let's be honest, the fans done that. The fans done that standing in the hedges and the bushes at Brecon City and watching games on junior parks and sold out away allocations everywhere. So for me, Aston Villa are not even close. They're an age-old club in England, and they're obviously a club that have got traditions and a history in English football. But at this precise moment in time, you're leaving a potential Champions League club to go to a potential English Championship club.
Yeah, and look, just to the point that James makes, Villa have won the European Cup. Rangers have also won a European Cup. It might not be the Champions League, but they've still won a European Cup. Winning a European Cup doesn't necessarily make you a big, massive side. Just look at our neighbours. You know what I mean? The Villa job itself, we'll finish on this and then we'll move on to the what ifs. We're all like a bit of what ifs. Genuinely, taking the blue tinted specs off, Brian, is there enough pressure in the Villa job for Gerrard? Because Gerrard has spoke so often about wanting to be with a big club, being at the top of the league, fighting for titles, and being under immense pressure. Is there enough pressure at Villa for Gerrard to go? Would it be a satisfying enough job for him?
Well, you've just said all the descriptions that he requires out of a management job. Does Villa sound like that to you? Doesn't to me.
No.
They're not challenging for titles. They're not under pressure every week. As far as I'm concerned, as long as Villa stay in the league every year, they're quite happy. Let's be honest. If you're not challenging for the league like the Liverpools, Man Cities, and the Chelseas, and whoever else is up there, then you're doing is you're quite happy to be in that league to coin the money. I mean, look at Norwich. They win that league, they go up. They go down, they coin the money. They win the championship, they go up. They coin the money, they go down. It's all about the money, and that's all the Premier League is. If it wasn't for the money, the Premier League would be nowhere.
Yeah. You know, and Gallant Pioneer.
There's no passion.
Gallant Pioneer sums it up. Well, the amount of half and half scarves I see, which is one of my big bugbears,
don't even start, mate. Don't even start.
But Villa are big in England, the Rangers are big globally. That kind of sums it up.
100%.
Okay, Ross. So Gerrard's decided that he thinks the best thing for his career is to move down south, go to Aston Villa. He's the new Aston Villa manager. That then leaves obviously a vacancy with us. Who gets the job?
I was trying to hold a laugh in there. I was going to say Callum Davidson.
I know you were going to say Callum Davidson.
And his first signing, Zander Clark, by any chance?
Mate, for me, I don't know, but for me, is that not Ross Wilson's remit? To make sure that a like-for-like manager comes in who this is the model the club's got, this is what we do, and the next guy just plugs in and plays. That's Ross Wilson's role for me.
Murty is dusting off his suit.
Martin, don't make me do the Murty again. Don't make me do it.
Don't.
It's like for like manager, Brian. Ross has nailed it. That's what Ross Wilson said he was going to do. So who is that like for like manager?
What's this? What's 65?
Now, both of you knew that we were going to do this podcast tonight, and both of you knew that this was going to be the main topic of conversation, and both of you also knew there was going to be an what if. So the fact that Ross doesn't have a manager disappoints me.
Lampard?
That from Ross. The fact that you can't name one, Brian, that makes me angry.
Lampard?
Is Lampard like Gerrard?
Well, same sort of age group, same sort of era. That's about all you can. I mean, he experienced the big team at Chelsea. Obviously, was given a bit of a bum deal at Chelsea purely because they couldn't sign anybody. He couldn't do either for 2 windows. And then once they could sign folk, Lampard was gone. I don't know. I don't even want to think about it, to be quite honest.
Well, we'll do a Rangers podcast, so you have to think about it.
Well, I've gave him an answer.
Frank Lampard, Ross, is a name that I knew would crop up because he's not a Rangers fan, but he does hold some kind of...
He was at Manchester.
Yeah, he's a Chelsea. He's a West Ham fan or a Chelsea fan or something.
Aye.
But he has got a soft spot for Rangers. I know. I think he had a box at Ibrox or something. But with Lampard coming in, would that satisfy you?
He's a big name. He's the same as Gerrard. He's somebody who could arguably just by name alone be the difference between getting a Joe Aribo into the club or not, a Fashion Junior into the club or not. Players who are doing well in the English Championship. John Lundstrom, another one. who had offers from England but wanted to come up here because you've got this global icon. Frank Lampard would offer you that draw for me, but I'd be looking for a manager with a. I've just seen Scott writing Barry Ferguson's the man. Jesus.
The way to say it.
No.
Jesus, man. I played against Barry Ferguson's Celtic Hearts. Fuck.
No.
Like there's we need a manager who plays the way we play. A manager who's going to want to come in and play attacking football in the mould of what we're playing. I don't know who that is, Martin. I know I'm making a joke earlier on, and obviously later on we're going to talk about St Johnstone and whatever else, but Callum Davidson last year winning 2 trophies with a club like St Johnstone must be a decent manager. But it's back to that. St Johnstone play 5-3-2 every week. Mm-hmm. So you're looking for somebody that knows the way we play and who knows the intricacies of the way we want to play and the formation we play, rather than a manager coming in and it taking... You're seeing it at Celtic now. Postecoglou's coming in and trying to play a new breed of football and Ange ball or whatever they call it. But it's took him a while. It's getting one game it clicks and then the next game they go and draw or they lose. So that's the idea of Ross Wilson, is that we don't go through that now. We've got somebody there who should already have in mind a list of candidates that he says we can have this. I've seen people saying Michael Beale and Gary McAllister.
They'll go with Gerrard.
For me, Michael Beale goes with Gerrard.
Yeah, they all do. The coaching staff go with Gerrard.
All of them.
So as our neighbours, the only ones where you come in and get to help John Kennedy and the laptop are yours and you're keeping them and that's it? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael, Dick Campbell. I would take Dick Campbell in a heartbeat, by the way.
Dick Ball.
A heartbeat. You would always be entertained if Dick Campbell was your manager. I seen it in the comments. I can't find it. It's for me anyway, because it's a guy that I really admire and I think he's going to be a top manager, but we would never ever get him. Graham Potter at Brighton. Honestly,
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I genuinely think he's one of the top managers in the league. Honestly, I think he's
Hear me out, Martin. Hear me out, Martin. Now, the last time I asked people to hear me out on Twitter, it never went well for me with the Fashion Junior song. But hear me out. What about Neil McCann?
No. I just don't think personally, from what I've seen at Dundee, and I could be totally wrong because Neil McCann seems like a lovely guy. I don't know how his man management worked at Dundee. I think
he was quite angry, wasn't he? He was quite angry, wasn't he?
Out with quite a few players, but he's a very intelligent man who knows his football. But no, Neil McCann would be far. Would it? You say far too much at risk, and we brought Gerrard in, and all he done was manage Liverpool under 18s. So I don't know. We'll obviously have to wait and see. But look, we'll leave it to that. That's 33 minutes of the chat that no doubt will become redundant in about 2 days when Gerrard comes out and says, "Stop talking nonsense. I'm still going to be here." And I will not accept, even though, Sam, you have clearly no clue how to spell his name, I will not hear Derek McInnes's name mentioned anywhere near this Rangers job. Absolutely unacceptable.
Less shite bag.
He was offered. He got one chance to take it and he turned it down. You're not getting a second.
Yeah, no chance. I wouldn't have anywhere near my team. And I see Gattuso mentioned in there as well. Gattuso would come in and then probably get sacked within a month because he's fell out with somebody in the board.
He's barred everybody.
Yeah. I still say we should just try and change Paulo and get Gattuso and Di Canio in as a double act. That would be good.
that would probably end him, bringing Van Hooijdonk as the attacking coach. Right, Stephen Davis. I seen something today online. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but quite possibly, Ross, Stephen Davis considering hanging up his international boots. Is that a wise move for Stephen at his age?
Of course it is.
Should have done it ages ago.
If you could elaborate on that, that would be fantastic.
Stephen Davis is now finding himself being rested and having to sit out games at the club who are paying him handsomely.
Yeah.
So for me, if Stephen Davis is having to work on a reduced schedule at Rangers who are paying his wages, then he shouldn't be going travelling all over the place when he could be resting and recuperating to go and play games where he single-handedly is the engine room for Northern Ireland. So in answer to your question, Martin, yes, he should be hanging his international business. He's got his record. He's a British all-time appearances. He's managed to play on and get his record. He surpassed. Who was the record holder? Was it
Shelton, wasn't it?
Shelton. He's beat his record. He holds that now. He's had an excellent international career, but the time's come now where if you want to keep playing for Rangers, and he is still the guy who gets trusted in the big games for us, then I'm sorry, but you need to put the tartan slippers on while the rest of the boys are in international duty for me.
I know, look, CGM's put about time for him. Northern Ireland are not going to qualify for anything, so no point. I don't think whether Northern Ireland are going to qualify for anything or not, Brian, matters to Stephen Davis. He's clearly shown throughout his career how much he loves playing for his country, and if he was to hang up the international boots, it would be a very, very tough decision for him, I think.
Yeah, I think it would. He's obviously captain of the country as well, so that's a big deal for him as well. But I much echo what Ross said. He got the record. I don't know how many games ago, 3 or 4 games ago. He's getting benched a bit more at Rangers. I mean, he's going away, playing here, playing there, all over Europe. Just get the pipe out and just put the feet up in international stuff and concentrate in your club. I mean, look at Lam. Lam retired after the World Cup in 2014. He was only 32. International stuff, he just retired. Says that's it. I'm done. Fair enough. He won a World Cup, so he could probably retire and go out the top. But the same token, Davis is 4 or 5 years older than him.
Yep.
I just don't see what he doesn't have to prove anything now. He really doesn't.
Again, I don't think for him it's about having to prove. I just think he loves playing for his country.
Yeah.
But if he does hang up the boots, then does that kind of give him an extra maybe 1-2 years at Rangers? Or
possibly.
I'm just going to ask that question because I'm not even going to say what I was going to say because I'll get hounded.
Right, so what we got to say? Come on, let's get hounded. What's we going to say?
No, I was just going to say, well, in a year or two, next season, will he still have the ability? Will he still be good enough to play for Rangers? And if he hangs up his international boots now, will that possibly give him an extra couple of years at Rangers?
I don't think it'll give him an extra couple of years. I think it might give him next year. If we are talking about Champions League next year, I don't see Steven Davis having the energy. He's got the ball retention, but I think in Europe, Kamara gives you that as well. I think, mate, if he chucks the international scene this year, he might get another year's contract at Rangers.
Yeah.
But if he's still playing international and travelling, for me, there's questions asked. If you sign a guy, what will it be next year, 37, 38, and we give him a contract on whatever he's on, 18, 20 grand a week, and he goes away and plays for Northern Ireland and picks up an injury that keeps him out for the season.
Yeah.
For me, Rangers have got to start look at that and protect our asset and our investment. If we give him another year and we are resting him, as I say, in games periodically, we are not resting him in games to keep him fresh to go and play 2 games in a week for Ireland or 3 games in a fortnight for Ireland, Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Is that the case then, Brian? That he's still got the ability, he still seems to have the engine. Is it the case that Northern Ireland, they're no Spain, so it's not as if they control the play? He's doing an awful lot of running, like Ross says. He is that engine room, and he's probably the best player in an otherwise not so talented squad. Is that fair?
I think that's absolutely fair. I think Northern Ireland have been punching way above their station for a couple of seasons now. Well, 3 or 4 seasons since they qualified for the Euros. Was it in 2018? Was it?
Still better than us, by the way. Still better than Scotland.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. But I mean, I thought after he qualified them for the Euros, I thought, well, what a better time to go out. You've got them to the first major since 1982 or the 86, World Cup. Just there you go. There's your swan song. You've got them to a major finals. That's your swan song. But as you say, he just loves playing football. But he's definitely got to start thinking of himself a bit more often moving forward, because he might not get much more game time at Rangers. He's got to start thinking a lot more. Well, do I want to continue playing club football, or do I plough on playing international?
If there's anybody in the comments from Northern Ireland and they're offended by that, I do apologise. I'm not that well versed on international football, so if I'm completely wrong about my statement about Northern Ireland, please hammer me in the comments. Let me know who your best players are.
Can I hammer you? Can I hammer you on that?
Of course you can. Fire away.
My boy Ali McCann, mate, I was touting all last season, went to Preston North End, plays beside Davis, and he's already been talked about a move to the Premiership for mega millions. So, just thought I would put that in there, mate. That boy's class. He'll go to the top.
Listen, I could be completely wrong, but I'm just judging it on Northern Ireland's recent results and where they are in their group and stuff like that, because they did make it to a tournament and now obviously it looks like they're not going to. Question for CGM. Is Davis still in our best 11 with Jack back plus Lundstrom, Bakuna, Kamara, Arfield, Aribo? God, what a midfield. His place isn't guaranteed, Ross. You're shaking your head.
I think the 4 games we gave Lundstrom in a row, we get 4 man in a match each in a row playing in that position. I think he offers us, especially in the SPFL, something a wee bit different in there. Davis reminds me of the end of the Barry Ferguson years when we called him Barry Backpass. For me, Davis is now, don't get me wrong, he's a magnificent player. But for me, Ryan Jack slots back in when he's fully fit. He sits back into that sitting role, and I don't think Davis has now got the legs to go and play in one of the 2 more attacking roles. Especially when you've already got a Glenn Kamara in there who does the kind of ball possession, sweeping up, while they shoot. We've already got somebody that does that. We can't have 2 in there that are just want to retain the ball when you've got Jack sitting behind them doing the defensive stuff.
Well,
Davis did put the ball through for Sakala in his hat-trick.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He has still got quality.
And Lundstrom was also partly culpable for us losing that first goal at the weekend. But everybody makes mistakes and everybody has good games, everybody has bad games. But look, Tam's put Davis is still the GOAT. Of course, he's been a fantastic servant to Rangers. So, of course, when you slightly criticise somebody who's seen as one of the greatest, you're always going to get pushback. But Brian, does that then maybe explain why he's maybe calling it quits? And look, he might not. He might keep going. But if he does that maybe explain why? With just the competition now that he has in midfield?
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I mean, he's got to start looking around over his shoulder and thinking, right, I've got to keep trying to keep ahead of these guys, because there's guys younger and hungrier coming over his neck, and he's not getting any younger. So, but I mean, yeah. But no, he's definitely got to start thinking of himself more often, I think. And plus, at the end of the day, Rangers pay his wages, so that's where his bread and butter is.
That's surely an HR case.
I'm going to move on. Now, recently, we have been linked with a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper who currently plays for St Johnstone. His name is Zander Clark. From what I can see, seems to be a very, very good goalkeeper. Brian, is he good enough for Rangers?
Well, if you'd say McLaughlin is, then you would say Clark is, wouldn't you? They've both been called up to this.
I've seen a lot of comparisons, Brian, between the two.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that
you can't argue.
What's the point in signing Zander when we've got McLaughlin? A lot of people are saying that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, you can't very well say that McLaughlin's good enough for Rangers without saying that Zander Clark's good enough for Rangers. Problem you've got is you've got 2 goalies that are vying for one place, and one of them's not going to be happy if not playing. And the same scenarios we've got this season with McGregor and McLaughlin. One's playing, one isn't. Somebody's not going to be happy, and how do you keep 2 goalies of decent quality happy? You don't. It's a very difficult thing.
Ross, Zander Clark. Clearly, it would be your dream move for Zander. And there's no point in me asking you if Zander's good enough for Rangers, because if I asked you and you went no, then it'd probably make the podcast more popular because we would be in every newspaper in the country. How do you feel about the links, I should say?
Obviously, I would love it if he signed for us. Martin, a lot of Rangers fans have been on Twitter today, and a lot of Rangers fans don't like Zander because he's Scottish and because they think I'm a weapon on Twitter or whatever, right? And that's fair enough, right? I go on Twitter and I think,
I mean, you are a weapon.
Mate, a weapon of mass seduction. But anyway, but listen,
you judge guys on their ability.
Listen, how many trophies did John McLaughlin win last season? The league trophy that a team wins. See the cup competitions where your goalkeeper can single-handedly win your games, aka us in the quarter-final at Ibrox last year. Zander's, for me, I watch him every week.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got people who watch 4 minutes of St Johnstone games on Sports Scene, who maybe only see the goals. You don't really see what the goalkeeper does. He's an excellent goalkeeper. It pains me to say it because I used to be able to tell folk I was better than him. But over the last 18 months, mate, having watched him, can't really remember a goal he's cost St Johnstone that you could say he was shockingly bad at fault there. Mm-hmm. Put it this way, if you watch his performance in a big derby against Dundee United last week, he was absolutely outstanding. None. I'll tell you what, Aaron,
six or seven saves that were just like.
Aaron McGregor and John McLaughlin don't keep a clean sheet in that game, and the reason I say that is Zander's 6'6". Zander's got arms like an orangutan. So see if Zander's at full stretch making a save. Naturally, genetically, he's making saves other goalies won't save. For me, obviously, there's going to be a lot of noise around Zander. I see people talking about Robbie McCrorie. Robbie McCrorie couldn't hold down a place at Livingston last year. And for me, if Zander went to Livingston, he would play week in, week out. When I watched Zander and I watched Scott Bain, when Scott Bain was at Dundee and Zander was at St Johnstone, he's a much better goalie than Scott Bain, who was the Celtic number one. And I see my good friend Cammy on Twitter tonight saying we need an international class goalie. Celtic paid £5 million for an international class goalie last year, and Zander's better than him and all. So I know that sounds like me having a love-in for my wee brother, but having watched him this season, the stats don't lie, mate. He's shot save percentage this season's 82-84%. Our goalies have conceded 9 goals in the last 14 shots on target, something along the lines. Mm-hmm. So he's listen, I'm biased because he's my wee brother. I would love it if he signed for us. I don't know. He wouldn't tell me anyway, even if he was, because he knows I come on places like this and he knows that I would have the full place buzzing. But no, the last I spoke to him, he was gone in Scotland duty. He's looking forward to that, and there's obviously a lot of noise about him. He won 2 trophies last year. And he's a free agent in the summer, so
that's the big thing, Brian. He's an international class goalkeeper. Yeah. Every single time I've seen him play, which I have to hold my hands up and say I've never seen him live. I've only ever seen him on the TV. He always seems to make cracking saves. I think every goalkeeper has mistakes. I've seen like 1 or 2 mistakes from, but tell me a goalkeeper that doesn't make mistakes. So you're picking up that quality of goalkeeper for free. Mm-hmm. And I dare say, no disrespect to Zander, but I dare say he wouldn't be the top earner at the club.
No, I don't think he would. But when you put it like that, I mean, I like Ross. I watched the St Johnstone Dundee United game. I think it was on Alba or something like that, the full highlights. And I heard he had a storm of a game, so I thought, well, I'll watch this. Honestly, some of the saves he made was just ridiculous. I mean, it was right hand here, left hand. He made a double save at one point. I didn't realise he was 6'6", Ross.
Yeah.
He is. Oh, it's a big unit. He moves quite. He moves well for a
6'6".
That's what I'm saying. I didn't realise he was. I thought he was maybe 6'2" or something like that.
He's massive. He's 6'6". I seen somebody today on Twitter as well, right? And he'll have to lose a bit of timber if he comes here. He's got about 5% body fat. He's like an absolute prime. He's like a prime racehorse.
CGM is asking what age is he?
29.
29, aye.
29.
29, just.
So you're over 30, Ross?
I'm 33, mate.
Jeez, hard paper round.
Hey, what age did you think I was?
22.
With that haircut, 12.
No, but I go back to what you're saying.
It's a good age for a
Martin.
goalkeeper, Brian.
It's a great age for a goalkeeper, and as you say, he's just starting to creep into the Scotland setup. Gordon's 36, 37, so he's not going to be hanging around much longer. McLaughlin's 33, 34, so he's not hanging around much longer. Who else is better? Who else is in the Scotland scene who's better? You can't say Bain. He's hopeless.
Spain's tragic.
He's hopeless. So at the end of the day, you're potentially signing the Scottish number one goalie in future for the next 4 or 5 years.
For free.
For free.
James is asking Ross, could Ross tell us what he's like with the ball at his feet?
Good question.
Yeah, by the way, he's decent. St Johnstone play out for the back. He kicks the ball further than some folk go their holidays. Like, honestly, like, see the thing for me, see if you want to know about Zander, you don't go on Twitter and read what Rangers fans are saying about him. You go on and listen to St Johnstone fans who talk about him and how well he's done for them. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's commanding. He talks the full way through games. He's a very good goalkeeper. And if you ask any St Johnstone fan, they'll tell you he could play for Rangers, no problem, behind the defence we've got.
A wee question for both of you, though. Do you think this is not a bit kind of snobbish of us Rangers fans signing somebody from St Johnstone?
See, maybe for other folk it is, but we signed.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, if that is the feeling from some fans, we signed Glenn Kamara for Dundee.
Exactly.
And I don't have to tell you how much we signed him for.
There is
quality in Scotland that can be picked up.
You listen to the guy that's on Rangers TV every other week, Kevin Thompson. You look at Scott Brown, went to Celtic for Hibs. There's a lot of good players in Scottish football, but the old firm look their noses up at them.
Because they play for an unfashionable club.
Well, Zander and Murray Davidson are the only two St Johnstone players to get called up to an international squad in the last 80 years or something.
And regardless of what you think about the Scottish national team, that's a big deal. What you think of the quality, I mean, you know. But see the fact, Ross, that we're being linked with players like Zander. Now, it could be a link out of fresh air that some journalist has just decided to make up. But like I say, there's very rarely smoke without fire. What does that say for you about McGregor?
Oh, McGregor's done. McGregor, for me this season...
Last season, yeah.
For me this season already, McGregor's a season too far. I believe if we had fans last year, I believe McGregor's on his swan song here, to be honest. Just doesn't. Some of the saves he was making last year, he's maybe just not. Don't get me wrong, like form and the rotation might not be helping him. But for me, at 39, and back to the Davis thing, what age did McGregor chuck Scotland duty so that he could concentrate on his club career
34
and get longevity? So for me, this will be McGregor's last year. I believe last year would have been if we had had fans. And if you're looking at Zander, you're looking at a first choice goalie for the next 7-8 years for free, who knows the league inside out, who's proven in the league, and a Scottish international now. But don't get me wrong, I don't think we'll be the only club linked with him. I think that there will be other teams elsewhere looking at him as well, based on his performances last year and so far this year. I've seen somebody in the comments, people saying the day Zander Clark couldn't play for Rangers in the Champions League, he went to Istanbul and played Galatasaray for St Johnstone and came away with a man of the match and a 1 each draw earlier on this season.
Yeah,
go and play in that kind of hostile place against that quality of team, hundreds of millions of pounds, with 3 young Scottish defenders in front of you, then why not?
Does that not go back to the point I was just saying earlier, though? We're turning our nose up the guys that play for lesser teams in Scotland.
Yep.
Unless they come through our ranks, then maybe we do. Maybe we do. See, James asking, based on what Ross is saying, and by the way, do you know something? Just a quick side note. Somebody in my work, because I hate hearing myself back, right? So I only watch podcasts back sometimes, and it's when I'm on my own. I have to be on my own because I get embarrassed by my voice. But somebody in my work decided they were going to put it on, just to annoy me. I didn't realise how posh I sounded on this compared to the way that I actually speak. It's slightly embarrassing. I just want to bring that up. Based on what Ross is saying, if we can get Zander in January for 50k, do we take him? Yes or no, Ross?
100%. On form, and the stats don't lie. Zander, if he was at Rangers at the moment and given a fair crack, would be the first choice Rangers goalie at right now from me.
Brian?
I think if McGregor, if I think what McGregor's going to do is retire at the end of the season, then yeah, can't see why not.
I didn't expect this to be the Ross Clark Q&A tonight, but however, I suppose seeing as it is your brother and it's a player linked with Rangers, I will put this to you for Ginger Beard. That's Kenny, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is Kenny, man. Ross, how do you feel he would cope with the expectation of a baying Ibrox crowd? Different kettle of fish in terms of how he deals with his mentality at St Johnstone. How would he deal with that? What's his mentality like?
I'm going to ask you the question, Martin. You guys watched them the same as me last year in the Cup quarter-final at a baying Ibrox. How would you say he performed in the Cup quarter-final last year?
Yeah,
when he set up a goal, saved 2 penalties, made countless saves through the game at a baying Ibrox when the people are on his back. So if he's got the people at Ibrox supporting him and the fans supporting him, then you look at last season, and as I say, I watch him week in, week out because he's my brother. The quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals are both cup competitions last year. Zander was probably man of the match 5 out of the 6 games. He's a big game player, Martin. He's a big game player, and if you ask any St Johnstone fan, they'll tell you the same.
Did Zander play with Rangers at youth level?
He did.
He did. Somebody asked that in the comments. There is a lot of people, Ryan, mentioning Ross McCrorie. It's something that we do have to discuss with. I know Ross's feeling on it, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Robbie McCrorie has for years been talked about. He's going to be the Rangers number 1. It was a definite. Didn't matter who was in charge, how much money the club had. Ross McCrorie was going to come through and be number 1. We've discussed possibly it being McGregor's last season, which I'll come back to because I did not expect the reaction I've got in the comments. But signing Zander Clark, still having John McLaughlin there, is that a bit of a kick in the teeth for McCrorie? And does it say possibly that the club or Gerrard maybe have doubts?
Is McLaughlin staying?
I've not heard anything about him going.
So you don't know that situation. I mean, McLaughlin might be staying, he might be going. You don't know. I feel sorry for McCrorie in the sense that he played the European game, got a clean sheet, and then played the Old Firm and got a clean sheet when we all thought, can't have a young guy like that playing those 2 games. But he came through them very well. But I mean, Gerrard always says there's a plan. There's a plan for this player. There's a plan for that player. So I dare say we've just got to trust in what he says. He's obviously got a plan for McCrorie. So I dare say we've got to trust him.
Can I just say, I've seen a comment for CGM. Now, regardless of ability, passing, saving, long shots, the one thing I will not hear, McCrorie looks too short.
Martin,
and the reason I will not hear that, and I will finish this point, is because growing up, everybody knows my favourite player was Davy Roberts, right? I love him, right? Andy Gorham was about 4'2", and he's probably one of the club's greatest ever goalkeepers. Size does not matter.
Britain's best.
Ross, does size matter?
Well, I was going to make a comment. I'm living on a knife edge. I'm living on a knife edge. This point. Zander once got released from a club because they said he was too short, and he's 6'6". Make that make sense? So, see, being too short. I'm looking at heights. Griggsy 6'1", maybe.
Yeah, about that.
No massive. Stefan Kloss up to my arm.
5'10", 5'11".
5'8", 5'9", sorry, 5'10".
Andy
Gorham was what, 5'7"?
No, I don't think he's that wee, Martin.
No, he is. He's the same height as me.
You're not 5'7".
Yes, I am.
You're no. You're no, man. I had you tucked under my arm that day. You're 5'3".
Look, AGM Cleaning Solutions. Zander is perfect for us. I've always thought he would come to Ibrox at some point. He's too good a keeper to stay at St Johnstone. Foldsy, Rangers would sign a goalkeeper before giving McCrorie number 1 status. McAllister alluded to him being too shy about the training ground. I don't remember McAllister doing that.
No, I don't remember that.
Right, so one word answers, and obviously I have to state this in case there's any wee journos watching quietly trying to get a wee headline because they know who Ross is. Ross knows nothing. Ross knows less than nothing because Zander's a smart man and wouldn't tell him anything. So just one word answers to finish the pod, guys. Will Zander sign for Rangers? Brian, do you see it? Yeah, he goes again.
75-25, yes.
Yes or no, Brian?
Yes.
Ross?
The less you know, the less the papers know.
And I think we'll leave it on that. Listen, Brian, Ross, thanks very much. Thank you to everybody in the comments. I didn't think we would have. I've actually got loads more here I wanted to discuss.
Let's just keep going.
That's us over there.
I want to see your missus battling you live on the pod. Keep it going.
I haven't had my dinner, and you don't like me when I'm angry.
He's hungry.
And I'm hungry. See, I can't even think straight anymore.
At least he's not hungry.
I know. So thank you, Brian. Thank you, Ross. Thank you, everybody in the comments. Please give us a like and a subscribe. A like, and I know I say it every week, and I'm going to keep on saying it, and I'm going to keep on saying it. A like helps share the podcast so far. So please do give it a like. Thank you to everybody watching. We will be back. I don't know. If there's enough to have a podcast next week, we will have one. I'm not just going to have a podcast for the sake of having one. If there's nothing to talk about, I'm sure we can come up with something. But anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon.